Hungary is a very open economy, very reliant or dependent on its exports. Hungary's number one FDI source for indirect investor in Hungary is, and Singapore is largest from the ASEAN region, from Southeast Asia. The higher the added value you're bringing, the closer you can get to major urban centers. It's not that all investments has to go to the countryside. All investments has to go their best place.
If I have to tell a room of Singapore founders, CEOs, one surprising fact about Hungary as a business destination, what would you tell them so that they'll make them sit up and take notice?
That's easy. It's a single-digit corporate tax rate, sitting at 9%.
He has chatted with too many Singapore CEOs, so he knows.
9%.
As the single lowest in the EU, single-digit 9%. Pair it with the affordable and skilled labor, and you technically got your investment plan.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the show today, and we are here live at FLA 2025, and of course next to me here is my co-host.
Yes.
Yeah, haven't reached my favorite co-host yet, but
yeah,
not too bad.
I love how there's this like little competition and everybody wants to be the favorite co-host.
And today we have a very interesting segment, which really got me to do a lot of homework.
Of course.
To begin with, because it's not an area that I'm familiar with. It's not a country that I'm familiar with.
Neither am I. Yeah.
But it'll be interesting for us to really discuss more and to help people to understand as well.
Yeah.
And even for myself, I'll be keen to learn so much about what this new country has to offer. You want to shed more light on that?
And just to be very clear, I first interacted with the Hungarian products at the Food Hotel Asia. Last year, right? Or earlier this year, I was like, oh, this is interesting. There are grapes and all this kind of stuff. So that kind of piqued my interest. And we were planning for this segment or this year's Franchising Licensing Asia. As with some of what we did last year, I was like, let's get some trade counselors in, talk about their country, talk about what they do, and then see how do we educate Singaporeans and the wider Asia landscape to explore opportunities from their home country.
Because let's get real, Singapore market too small. Too small. Yeah, let us show you what are the options out there.
Yes, so we are very happy to be in studio. I'll be live here with Peter from Hungary. Could you introduce yourself for our audience that don't know you?
Hi, my name is Péter Martonosi. I'm head of trade and investment at the Embassy of Hungary in Singapore. Thank you very much for having me on the show and having Hungary on the show. As you said, Hungary, a new country, new on the show, not very much new in the world. I mean, we're there for 1,000 years now. And I hope that after this short chat we're going to have here today, you and also the audience will be somewhat more familiar with Hungary and very much interested in Hungary.
Maybe you could kind of give us a sense of Hungary, from a trade perspective, right? Like, what are the major aspects of the economy, and from a trade standpoint or from a business kind of opportunity standpoint, where is Hungary and where do you think Singaporeans can focus on?
So Hungary is a mid-sized country in terms of European sizes. We're talking about 100,000 square kilometers, 10 million population. It's a standard mid-sized country in Europe, sitting in Central Europe. It's landlocked, no sea, surrounded by mountains. We have 7 neighbors, and we're sitting right in the middle of Central Europe with all its pros, well, some cons, but all its pros, especially interconnection with European transport infrastructures. Hungary really is a crossroads between Eastern and Western Europe, and our geographical location also resonates in what Hungary is doing nowadays and how we do trade and business. Hungary is a very open economy, very reliant or dependent on its exports. So we are always on the lookout for new markets for our products and services, which traditionally Hungary is traditionally strong in food stuff, pharma, automotives. Hungary is the only country outside of Germany which is home to the 3 major German car brands manufacturing Audi, Mercedes, and BMW as well. Beside that, we also have Opel and Suzuki manufacturing in Hungary, and BYD is close to finish their plant in Hungary, Szeged, which will be the largest BYD plant in Europe, and those cars will be made in EU.
Wow, that's fascinating. Nobody knew about
nobody
that.
knew. Okay, at least I didn't know. I'm sure many people know about it. But just on that fun fact, right? For all of you that are tuning in, the thing about automobiles, right, is that there are many components in this manufacturing process. So a lot of these components can be repurposed to do other things, right? And that's the value of the automobile supply chain, right? So if Hungary can produce all these things, that means there are many different parts in this supply chain. And if you want to produce certain things, you can always explore just the glass, just the gears, and use it for other aspects.
Yeah,
right?
which also shows the power of their supply chain right now,
that is
because it's so
interesting.
deep-seated that they're able to do so.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing.
Because Singaporeans are very impatient, so I'm just going to jump straight in. If I have to tell a room of Singapore founders, CEOs, one surprising fact about Hungary as a business destination, what would you tell them so that they'll make them sit up and take notice?
That's easy. It's a single-digit corporate tax rate, sitting at 9%.
He has chatted with too many Singapore CEOs, so he knows.
9%.
As the single lowest in the EU, single-digit 9%.
Okay. So that's a
pair it with the affordable and skilled labor, and you technically got your investment plan.
Interesting. But from a opportunity standpoint, is it then also a lot about using Hungary as a platform to then tap regionally? Because some of the other, bigger European countries, people look at like, okay, can we tap into the local consumer landscape, right? Maybe for 10 million population, it's big, but kind of not that big also, right? So how do businesses usually think about when they enter the market?
We portray Hungary as the gateway to Europe for Singaporean and Asian companies for the past few years with success. And I hope I have the chance to mention some examples a bit later. One very important thing is that though Hungary is a 10 million country, 10 million is not much, but Hungary is member of the EU, which is a common market of 600 million people. So it's a much more coherent and common market. If you compare it to ASEAN, for example, ASEAN is loose. And even though like Singapore is a reference market for the ASEAN and the gateway to get in the ASEAN markets, Hungary is already EU. So whatever is in Hungary, it is in the EU. What you produce in Hungary, you can sell it in Portugal, in Sweden, in Greece. It's the same market.
And no additional tariffs.
Exactly.
Yes, that's the common market.
No stopping at borders, no nothing.
Maybe share with us some of the success examples of Singapore or like Asia businesses that have entered.
Asian businesses, well, Hungary's number one FDI source for indirect investor in Hungary is China for the past few years, followed by Germany, a traditional, very strong business partner in Hungary, and third place is South Korea. So in the top three, it's China and Korea, two countries in the top three. And Singapore is largest from the ASEAN region, from Southeast Asia, and is coming up. And I was a little bit disappointed when I heard the news from back home that a major investment announcement will follow a few hours our conversation here. But it will be a big thing. I mean, capital BIG, a big thing.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Follow Embassy of Hungary. Follow HIPA, the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency website. It will be out by Singapore evening hours. As for Singaporean companies, Patek is already present in Hungary. One of the early birds, Orion Electronics, which belongs to Takra Group, is present in Hungary for a very, very long time, more than 35 years now. Electronics. Patek is mainly in the automotive supply chain. Also Innovi in the automotive industry. And there are a lot of other companies, finance, IT, you name it. 120 Singaporean companies have operations in Hungary, employing over 7,000 people already. And it is going to go up still.
And for interested business owners who we really pick their interest in looking at Hungary as a business destination, are there some capabilities or milestone they should acquire first? to better equip them to look at Hungary as a expansion area?
Definitely. First, I would say is a European clientele. If you get into Hungary, you can sell in Europe. It's pretty easy, and you can produce whatever you want in Hungary. One of the most affordable ways in Hungary. So like a European clientele, the capabilities and ability to navigate the EU regulations and compliance with EU, which might take some extra efforts or resources in your organization if you haven't done a business in the EU before. And I would say the ability or be agile to leverage all the incentives Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency can give you. And I can tell you the HIPA, Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency, is really giving, without bias, one of the best incentive environment or scheme in Europe, that's for sure, but maybe globally.
No, Singaporeans very good in taking grants.
We love
We are well
incentives.
trained.
I know.
He's been around.
Also, I would recommend to contact Enterprise Singapore for its internationalization schemes and supports provided for Singaporean companies.
Actually, can you tell us some of that schemes and incentives, in Hungary?
So we have key areas we're focusing on where we want to attract investments to is automotive, advanced manufacturing, pharma, biotech, business centers, and whatever has research and development, so R&D. We have various incentive schemes or pockets which can be combined. One is bringing your investment to economically least developed areas, let's say. The least developed area you're going, the higher the incentives you're going to get, cash grants from the government. If you do R&D, significant parts of your R&D investment will be given in cash grants. Also, if you are using renewables and green energies and installing your own solar on top of your facility, let's say, that's another source of incentives and grants you can just. So there are these various pockets, and if you're good, if you're agile and navigate good, you can get a handful from each of these pockets. Yeah.
Okay, so just so I understand, it means that if today I explore Hungary as a destination, the more rural part of Hungary that I go to and set up shop, right, I get more incentives.
Yes.
Because that's what the government wants, capital to do, right?
Yes.
Essentially go and invigorate a small town,
Yes.
invigorate something. Yeah.
Keeping the population there, so like not to have the population migrate to industrial centers, create more industrial units all around. So like decentralize, and where a major investment goes, it will follow. I mean, infrastructure developments will follow. Housing and general elevation of living conditions will follow.
I also want to understand the other side of the coin, because we know business expansion is never easy. Are there any common obstacles that business owners or Singapore companies may often overlook when they look into expanding into the EU market via Hungary?
As for Hungary, I would say the major thing would be the Hungarian language, or it used to be the Hungarian language, was pretty much a unique language, but now everybody who needs to speak English speak English. So in offices, in agencies, and also like your workforce you're going to employ speak English. For other obstacles, not obstacles, but a little bit of annoyance might be the sometimes over-regulation of the European Union. So EU regulations are clearly written. It's in the text. You just have to follow and comply. You do that, you're going to be okay. Though you will probably need to allocate resources to be compliant. And from GDPR to environmental regulations to occupational health and safety, these standards and these regulations are somewhat different than what they are in Singapore and Asia. And you have to be compliant. It's a base rule, a ground rule.
Europe is very strict on compliance. Yeah, so you must be prepared. Maybe one last question, although we are kind of overrun. One last question for you. It's I'm trying to square this part where you're talking about like, okay, if you go to the more rural parts, you get a higher grant, and the whole idea is okay. So then we don't have like city population migrating around, and then it creates all sort of stress on city centers, right? But if companies are trying to enter a space and do R&D and do high-end manufacturing, they're going to bring in a whole bunch of people, like so-called high-value individuals, or they will try to recruit from the top talent pool. And it's not just in Hungary, right? You kind of recruit from the whole area to come in. So they try to centralize talent. So what is the kind of like labor structures on that front?
The higher the added value you're bringing, the closer you can get to major urban centers. So, for example, the R&D investments, the R&D incentives are not going down just because you're going to a major university center or the capital. They're still there because it's R&D. But when you're setting up manufacturing, they're going to try to push you out from the city centers. I think it's obvious. It's understood, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to employ university graduates and academics and researchers, you're very welcome to come to the center, because you're going to probably need less space, less water, less infrastructure. Just to say, if you're planning to produce like physical products in a factory, you will be incentivized to go to these least developed regions. So it's not that all investments has to go to the countryside. All investments has to go their best place.
Okay, maybe one last question, right? So I just want to understand from an incentive standpoint, is it all run by like the central government? Or there, because like in this part of the world, I'm just trying to reference, right? The different states will kind of compete for FDIs and for manufacturing plants to get moved around. So just want to understand that the texture there.
Thank you very much for bringing us back to this point. So we have, the Hungarian government has the HIPA, the Hungarian Investment Promotion Agency, which is a one-stop shop for all investments in Hungary. So if you're interested, you just either contact the embassy, seek me out, or contact HIPA directly, better the embassy, and we will assess what investment you're planning to make. We will help you, like hold your hand from your expression of interest until you're launching, and it's a free of charge service by the HIPA. They will find your best place, your workforce, whatever. And about the incentives, there are the governmental incentives. HIPA is in charge for that, and there are the other national and European incentives. And surprise, there are also compliances with EU regulations there. But HIPA and major advisory firms in Hungary can help you navigate these rules and to tap the most what you can from what Hungary and Europe has to offer if you want to invest in Hungary and Europe. And I recommend you do.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Awesome. So that's it for this stream. If you are interested in the wider European market, or like which Peter has said, it's highly regulated, but there's a big opportunity there with 650 million people. And if you're interested to use Hungary as the platform, then you can reach out to the Hungarian consulate in Singapore, and you can reach out to Peter. So with that, that's all for this stream. We will see you at the next one. And if you are around, come to booth 8037 at the Franchising Licensing Fair. Meanwhile, take care. Bye-bye.